Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, a difficult show, because we know what happened in Fort Worth over the weekend. This young woman, for no fault of her own, yet another person of color, yet another black person, is at home in the sanctity of their home and is gunned down by a police officer. Grandstanding are we doing? Are we just taking advantage of this issue? No. No. This is a serious issue that we have to take care of, and as I will talk about in the blog of the week, a lot of this is societal. We can easily sit down. We can easily put all the blame on the officer, which deserves all the blame for pulling the trigger. But there is a societal issue here as well that I think we need to talk about. I'd like you to make sure, if you're listening today, to make sure to share this program. Please share this program wide as you can, because this is not about hyperventilation. This is not about just screaming, oh, a black person got killed by the cop, or the cop doing bad things. We need cops. We need police officers. We need good police officers, because all of us need to be protected from criminals. That is something we need. But by the same token, we all pay our taxes for that insurance called the security of the police, the security from the police, the security that the police is supposed to bring us all. So let's be careful, but let's be understanding of what's going on here. This is a systemic problem. There are a lot of people that are going to be making a lot of excuses. We cannot allow excuses to be made. We need to tackle the problem as it is. But here's how I want to start. Because Atatiana is not the only one. Atatiana is one of the few that we get on camera. Atatiana is one of the few that all of the times we get issues out. But here is the thing. Let's first show that this is systemic. I have two videos. I just got them, pulled them off the internet, captured the screen, cut it up so that you could just see reaction time. It took that officer 2 seconds after seeing a black woman in the window to see her as a threat and shoot and killed. Let me show you another important video, my brothers and my sisters, okay? Because I want to make the argument around this issue and say what we need to do to solve it. And there is one, Salvador, who's one of our followers, has a very important key when he talks about training. But check this out. This is what happened with Tamir Rice. A young boy, I think he was 12 years old or something, a toy gun. Somebody reported that. Again, some external person reported that. And this is what happened. I want you to see the reaction time. Please stick with me here. And please spread the word. Let's have a lot of people watch this. This is very important. Check this out.
Newly released video shows the moment police officers shot and killed a Cleveland boy. Police say 12-year-old Tamir Rice was waving a toy gun at people near a playground. Rookie officer Timothy Lohman and 6-year veteran Frank Garmbach responded to a call. The video raises troubling questions about their 2-second decision to open fire.
The video shows that Tamir Rice was gunned down less than 2 seconds after this police cruiser arrived.
Shots fired, male down, black male, maybe 20, black revolver.
But that was no adult. It was a 12-year-old child, and his weapon, a toy pellet gun that looked like the real thing.
Okay, what am I trying to show there? I am trying to show that the reaction time for looking at a young black person is 2 seconds to determine that that person is a threat. 2 seconds. We know how the mind works. But you know what I want to do before I get there? I want to go ahead and immediately read the start of the show. And here's how we go. And then we're going to continue. I have another video to show you, but here it goes. The title of the show today is 2 Reasons Why the Police Murder of POCs, a Societal Reflection. 2 reasons why the police murder of POCs, people of color, is a societal reflection. Subtitle: The murder of Atatiana Jefferson by the police officer will be forgotten soon. It will be forgotten soon by most. It's a societal reflection that we will do well to fix, else, and that else I leave for you to answer. That else I leave for you to answer. Continuing. It is for many not to take the police office murder of Atatiana Jefferson personally. Many people aren't even going to think about it. Many will accuse those who highlight the murder of Philando Castile, and many others by cops as some sort of an affront on police. To be clear, I do not see it that way at all. I think the police are just a reflection of society with the authority to kill where society rarely holds them accountable depending on the victim of their violence, typically depending on the hue of the victim of their violence. Some will even bring up the canard of so many people being killed by the criminal element. Unsaid is that the police are supposed to be the security as a society we purchase like an insurance policy against that. When one cannot trust their insurance policy, then what is left? Society at large is complicit. We cannot control the hearts or impulses of people. Accountability, however, ensures that they think how much of their violence they are willing to exert given the consequences. So far, they have little to worry about. So far, they have very little to worry about. And you can understand that well, folks. You can understand that because they have gotten away with so much thus far. The woman, you know, it's amazing when Amber Geiger got convicted. I wrote a little piece on my site, and a lot of people said, yes, but she's a woman. Another site said, yeah, look at the officers who get convicted. The woman got convicted and thrown in jail. The guy in Minnesota, the Ethiopian in Minnesota got convicted and thrown in jail. Well, there are a couple of white guys as well, but rarely that gets convicted and put in jail. The question is always, hello, Gary Rhodes from Fort Worth, Texas. Lee Grant, yes, murder. Bobby Fats, police killing POCs isn't the problem, brother. They're killing black people. There's a difference. Good show. Let me tell you something. It is POCs, but you're correct when it comes to the preponderance is for black men. But there is a gradation in killings. There is a gradation in killings and what they consider as worth. So anyway, I accept that, and thank you for your comment, Bobby Fats. Kathleen Morgan, welcome aboard. Lawrence Sims, welcome aboard. Okay, folks. So let's continue here with what I want to go with. So before I go with the blog of the week, I want to show what occurred because this is super important. Remember that 2-second rule. Remember that 2-second rule. Check this out.
Put your hands up. Show me your hands. Put your hands up. Show me your hands. Put your hands up. Show me your hands. Put your hands up. Show me your hands.
Now, that was less than 2 seconds. That was absolutely less than 2 seconds. I see somebody in the window. I don't identify as a police officer. I say to put your hands up, and I shoot. I'm in my home. That young woman could be my daughter. I have a daughter that age, 28. That could be my daughter. My daughter could be in her home in D.C. right now with that same occurrence. Same thing. What I'm trying to tell you people is this. This is serious. We had that that other young man, I don't remember his name now, that was killed in Dallas by an officer that thought they had the wrong room. You know what, I'm gonna bring the caller in. I want to get to the blog of the week because it's important that you get the narrative that I'm trying to pull in the blog of the week. But let me go ahead and get the caller in, and then I'll continue thereafter. Caller at 828. Come on in real quickly, my friend.
Egberto, hey, it's Hope in North Carolina.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Talk to me, my
friend. Just a quick
friend.
question for you. Did you watch the press conference with the mayor and the chief?
I didn't get a chance to watch it. I was right in the blog, and also I was cutting up some videos. Tell me about it. There's something specific you want to mention about that?
Okay, you need to... Well, I was never a public safety official, but I was in public transit and municipal government for years. And so I spent a lot of time with some pretty good PD officers, and it's been a little while since I was there, about 5 years or so. But I didn't like the mayor's commentary. I mean, you know, she showed empathy and all that, but she kind of just looked like deer in the headlights. I don't think you have much leadership there, and I don't know the history, so I don't really want to assume. I'm just telling you from a removed state in North Carolina, that's what it looked like to me. And why they have the chief in back of the microphone after what you guys have had in Fort Worth, I mean, I think your chief needs to be on leave, and you need to, you know, people who are listening to this in Fort Worth, Texas, you need to go and participate in local government, because this is the most ghastly, tragic, horrific thing. This young woman was a responsible person. She had moved back in with her mom because her mom was ill and she was taking care of her nephew. And, you know, who knows why the door was open at 2 a.m. It was
Right.
probably hot in the house.
Right.
And the poor neighbor who just asked them to go and do a safety check. I mean, this is unbelievably tragic,
It is
and you
terrible.
need to hold your local government officials accountable.
Let me
okay?
tell you, my friend.
I'm going to get off so that...
Before
Yeah.
you go, let me just tell you this, because I thank you for bringing that up and telling me about the press conference. Now I'll go listen to it. But you're correct. I mean, these guys have a tendency to just go through the motions. What I'm saying is that there's something systemic that we need to talk about. So I hope you listen to the blog of the week that I'm about to go to, and also go ahead and share it, my friend. So thank you so kindly for your call, okay?
Okay, thanks, Egberto.
Have a
Bye.
wonderful day. Bye-bye. Okay, folks, do you know what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Okay. The weekly blog post that I have today is important, and I ask you again to please share this program, because I really want intently for folks to follow what I'm going to be talking about. It is important that we get there, because this, for many, this is what I call existential. The title of the blog piece is called, Again, a Police Officer Kills a Black Person in Their Own Home. And I know, typical title, but here we go. There's a problem when those of a certain hue must be more trained than a trained police officer to survive officer purported fear. There are two reasons this continues, and both reasons are terrible. But yes, there are two reasons why this continued to occur. And here we go. James Smith, a neighbor, called the police on a non-emergency number after he saw his neighbor's front door open for an extended amount of time. He just wanted someone to check if the family was okay. He did the right thing. Officers are supposed to be trained for that kind of thing. A neighbor who just walking up without a uniform or training for an unknown situation could be precarious. Several officers came. An officer saw Atatiana Jefferson in the window. In a trigger-happy manner, he shouted, "Put your hands up!" And in less than 2 seconds, shot her. Yes, murdered her. Already some are saying to wait for an investigation. If the video is not investigation enough, it just proves the little value some have for the lives of humans of some hues. Hell, he shot from outside through a glass window, not having identified himself as a police officer. Let me pause from the blog post. Think about this. He's outside. He sees somebody at a window. His first thing is to use deadly force. Not to maybe, since he's outside behind a glass, take cover because there's a whole lot of time he has. But he see the body of somebody of a dark hue in a window with the light flashed on that person. And his first thinking, the 2-second reaction that he has in the back of his head is danger, kill. Danger, kill. It's his fault, but I want to explain what I mean by a societal problem. Okay? And I'll explain that with a walk that I took in my neighborhood through the woods. But anyhow, he shot from outside through a glass window, not having identified himself as a police officer. There's nothing more to this case. It is just modus operandi for many police officers and POCs, black folk in particular. These incidents occur on a continuum because the underlying disease has not been addressed. Many think there is something special about a police officer than the population at large. But Trayvon Martin was minding his own business in his neighborhood when wannabe cop George Zimmerman murdered him. Botham Jean was minding his own business eating ice cream in his own home when police officer Amber Geiger murdered him. And now Atatiana Jefferson was in her own home, minding her own business, when this Texas police officer murdered her. If one cannot feel safe in the sanctity of their own home or vicinity and is murdered by a police officer just for who they are, what is left? And I mean that. Just for who they are. Just for who she is. Just for what she looks like. What else is there, people? What else is there? That's what we're talking about. Now, so what else is left? I was saddened by some comments I saw in my Facebook feed because they showed not only a lack of empathy, but deep racism deep within one's core. I'm sure some do not really realize it is there within themselves. The following comment made my blood boil. One person said the following: easy, comply with the police. Don't resist arrest, and don't walk around with a toy gun that looks like a real gun. And if you do, comply with police when they approach you. Why does none on your side of this issue say these things? We showed you 2 videos. We showed you 2 videos. 2 good people. Tamir Rice, you heard what the guy, here's what he said. And if you have a, by the way, these are, the guy who's commenting about that believes in open carry and all of that. You can carry a gun or whatever. You know what I said one time? I said, you want to get open carry to stop? Or you want people to not want open carry? get a lot of black men to carry guns openly. And you see how quickly they change it. Ask Reagan why they had gun control in California. Because guess who was arming themselves? So this guy doesn't realize the loaded value, the loaded code within his statement. When he says, if you have a toy gun, and it looks like a toy gun, and if you do, just obey the police. I just showed you those two videos. I showed you Tamir Rice. The cops drove up, opened the window, and shot and killed him. Same thing with this. This woman hears some noise in her yard, and she's in her bedroom. She looks through the window. He gives her a command. He doesn't identify as a cop. He just says, put your hands up. Pow! So that renders my commenter's comment moot. But that is what they like to say, because what comes on TV a whole lot of times is you may see somebody resisting. By the way, I've seen on TV several, there's a video, and I was looking for it to see if I could bring it here again, where there's this white guy. It looks like he must be on meth or something. He breaks through windows. He uses a glass on cops, and the cops spent an hour around this town chasing after this guy. And the worst they did with this guy was a taser. This guy was a threat. This guy came to them with glass as a knife. He was a threat. But the brains, the way their brains are laid out, that wasn't the kind of threat. That wasn't a carnal threat like that guy felt in Fort Worth, like Tamir Rice. Like I said, but I'm going to continue because there are two reasons why they react that way, and we'll continue with that. So let's continue. Let me continue because there are two reasons why they react like that, okay? So continuing. When that one message is unpacked, it makes it clear that the author is willfully ignorant to the duality of the statement. Aren't we open carry in many places? Did Philando Castile not do as he was told? An officer told Philando Castile in Minnesota to go ahead and show me your license. He said, sir, I am a licensed gun carrier. Yes, sir, I know. And can my wallet is in my glove box. Can I get it? Yes, you can get it. He goes to get the wallet. The officer panics and blows his head off, or in his heart or somewhere, with his daughter and his girlfriend in the car. These are people who see others not as humans, but some sort of a threat, an animal. It's their psychosis. It's their psychosis. Aren't we open carry in many places? Did Philando Castile not do as he was told? It does not matter when police officers, as a reflection of society, operate on the two cans, or rather, it does not matter when police officers, as a reflection of society, operate on the two cancers that are fatal to POCs too many times. POCs, people of color, black people, Latino, dark-skinned Latinos. First, there are the racist cops that are just looking for a kill that has a semblance of justification. So remember I said there are two issues, right? One is really, really bad, and one is just bad. This is a really, really bad one. First, there are the racist cops that are just looking for a kill that has a semblance of justification. They have innate hate of some, and they have the power to act on it, knowing there is a willful population out there that will support them. That is why you can see somebody on a video kill a POC. You can see them kill them. You can see them saying, stop resisting, stop resisting. And the guy says, I am not resisting. I am not resisting. And all the officers says, stop resisting, because he's looking for the kill. He's looking for the kill. There's a video that I posted with this black kid. He's very smart, 22 years old. He's in his car. The cops surrounds his car because the convenience store owner thinks this guy, why is he sitting in the car out there? He's just sitting in the car. The police officers surround the car, and as he was driving off, and so he puts his foot on the brakes, And the police officer, you know, he has his phone with the camera, and he's putting both hands out there for the cops to see it. The cop looks around and tells him, put the car in park. And as he says, put the car in park, he's the officer. This is the officer now says, gun, gun. The 22-year-old said, I'm not putting this car in park. I'm keeping my hands where you can see it. If you want this car in park, you come and put this car in park. Because he understands the nature of many of these cops. I know America, I know a lot of you guys hate to hear this, but there are those out there. There are those out there who really, really just look for the kill. There's that kind of hate out there, and very few people understand it. But it's there. We know it. We live it. And I know it's hard. It is hard for good white people or good people that hold to sit down and say, nobody's like that. I am not like that. Stop looking at yourself as we're not judging good people here. We're judging those bad officers with the power to put a notch on their gun to kill a POC. Because many, that's how they think. Houston had a KKK sign in its office till we got Lee Brown here in Houston to run the police department. These are real issues, people. These are real issues. You don't end up with mostly black people or Latinos or people of color that are the ones who get shot and killed. And you say every single one of these guys get off and you say, oh, it was an accident, or oh, he didn't follow the commands. Didn't follow. Many people don't follow the command. Most of them don't end up dead. We are a free society that believe that we own the cops, we own everything, so we can talk back to a cop as we please. We own them, we pay them. Some of us pay the price with our lives for doing that. And that is the things that we have to get across, people. That is what we have. So anyhow, so the first, I want to repeat the first and then I go to the second. The first, there are racist cops that are just looking for a kill that has a semblance of justification. They have innate hate of some and they have the power to act on it, knowing there is a willful population out there that will support them. In other words, they kill, they go to court, they don't get indicted, and even if they get indicted, the population tries to find some justification to get them up. Look at the judge in Dallas. The judge in Dallas told the jury they could use the Castile doctrine. This is how endemic this thing is to get these guys off. They could use the Castile doctrine. In other words, the cop is in somebody else's house, somebody else's home. And because she claims she thinks it's hers, and because Texas law has a Castile doctrine that says if you feel threatened in your own home, you can kill. Since she believes it's her home, she can kill the actual owner of the home. The judge was given the jury permission to do that. They didn't take it. They did the right thing. They didn't give her long enough, but they did the right thing ultimately. Anyhow, the second reason these guys are killers, the second reason, and here it goes. The second, there are cops that should not be cops. That's just what it is. There are cops that should not be cops. Society, our new programming, Hollywood, the FBI data would have many believe that POCs, people of color and black men in particular, are more dangerous. As such, out of an unwarranted irrational fear, they shoot much more readily at a POC than at a white person. So what I'm trying to say is this is actually sort of a defense of some of these cops, the ones that are not super racist. This is just a defense of them, saying the way they were programmed, if you watch TV every afternoon, you watch your local news, all the people you see arrested and shooting people are black people. But when you look at the docket, they're not all black people, or you'll see Latinos. But when you look at the docket looks a lot more balanced as far as the people who kill, as far as the people who do these things. The docket's a lot more balanced. But somehow on TV, the people that appears always look somewhat like me. Now, if you take a look at Hollywood and all these different avenues, They have programmed the American people to believe that your hue, your color, the way you look has something to do with your criminality, not realizing that the most criminal people in this country are our political leaders who kill ad nauseum. They've caused more death than any of our worst criminals or serial killers could. Their policies have killed so much more. But, you know, it doesn't fit the narrative. So we create that friction. So now everybody believes that, oh, if you look like me or you look like Senor Perez or whatever, that somehow you have a higher propensity to kill. Here's the deal. I was walking through my white neighborhood, and I'm going through the trails, and you know, I'm walking, I'm having a good time, just strolling into the neighborhood, and past two women, and the first thing I saw was the horror. This was about 20 years ago, about 20 years ago when I just moved here, I guess. The horror of this woman's face. And she clutched her purse, and she kind of put some space and walked past me. She was walking opposite me. And at that time, I never held back. I'm a lot more reserved now, and I do things a lot more pleasant. I kind of do things in a particular rhetorical way that makes people listen more as opposed to really hitting them hard. But I looked and I turned around at that woman and I said, what the hell are you holding your purse for? I don't need your money, nor have I ever been a threat to anybody. Why are you holding your purse? Why do you think I am more threatened than that guy that's going to walk past you now? In fact, that is the guy that's going to rob you because he knows you're going to think he's all A-okay. The people that have done most damage to, if anybody, whether black or white, listening to me right now, okay? Whoever is listening right now. If you calculate the people that have been doing you damage, the people that have hurt you, the people that have hurt you physically and mentally the most, think about how many of them, for my white brothers and sisters, think about how many have been POCs. For all the people that have done damage, for all the people. Today's Columbus Day. We are celebrating Columbus Day. He's a hero. Have we ever sat down and thought what a Native American feels like celebrating Columbus Day? Estamos tan trastornados. We are so mentally imbalanced that we don't think about where dangers really lie. To the natives, Europeans were existential threat to them. In as much as they helped them get together, they became the existential threat. They became the exterminators. They became the ones who did all the killing. Look, killings, extermination, genocide does not belong to any race because race is a stupid thing. Humanity is what matters. And our human condition and what we want to attain does a whole lot as far as what happened in history. I am not trying here to put a blame on any particular race for whatever, but in America right now, the killings that occur by cops are mostly white cops killing POCs. That is what's happening in America right now. That is the issue in America right now. Now, to be clear, anyone can categorically state that the FBI data has a racial bias. Why? It comes from all the cities and towns around the country, and most have a biased criminal justice system. POCs are overrepresented. Definitely so. They're overrepresented. Here is a simple example that makes it clear the FBI data cannot be but biased against POCs. In my white community, one finds cops giving teenagers and adults alike breaks more often than one finds in POC neighborhoods. So I know several adults that's had certain things in their car, and the cop says, well, I didn't see that. Or they'll tell me. You know, I almost got in trouble. The cop, he stopped me, and then he saw and he just said, I didn't see that. Or all kinds of crazy things like that happens here, right? I live close to the park. They have beer bus back there all the time, underage drinking. 18 and 19-year-olds drinking with their kegs. The police officers go back there, tell them to go home, go to Papa. Guy wrecked his father's car and ran off and then came back. The officer, oh, it's okay. Anyhow, interestingly, a friend called me a few years ago and told me after an inebriated teenager hit his car, the police officer told him the kid was going off to college and he could be impacted by a record and asked him to defer to the parent. My friend said he sure wished that kind of policing occurred in his old neighborhood. Interestingly, another friend's son was speeding, not drunk, but beer on his breath. The white girl in the car with him ran off. Both were underage drinking, which is under 21 in Texas. The officers ignored her. They let her run off, no problem. They didn't even say, hey, 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 come back. They let her run off and took my friend's teenage black son to jail. He is now in the criminal justice system. Now, if stats were correct, right, the stats would reflect a black person and a white person got arrested for that particular thing, but the stats are immediately skewed by 100% because only he got a record. So, the officers ignored her and took my friend's teenage black son to jail. He is now in the criminal justice system. She is not. The same community, the same level of affluence for these two cases. Empirical, but probative. Empirical, but probative. There is a danger with the weaponization of America congruent with people misinformed by design about so much. So much. As a reflection of society and as recipients of the same cues from our political leaders manipulating think tanks and thought corruptors. I call thought corruptors all those people that you see on TV lying to you that too many believe. Police officers share the same proclivities as society at large. They are pre-programmed to believe that black lives, POCs' lives, have less values. And the aggregate of their actions makes that very clear. End of blog. The aggregate of their actions make that very clear. The difference between them and the average population is they have the power to kill you and get off. They have the power to, hell, some regular people have the power to kill you and get off. Look at that George Zimmerman, Mr. Wannabe Cop. Somebody minding their own business and he decides he's going to take that on. Folks, telephone number 646-716-5812 if you want to call. 646-716-5812. Let me go through the code here and see what people are saying here. Let's see what people are saying here. A murder, hello, police, POCs is the problem. Okay, police training is not the problem because they're trying to do exactly what they do. Gary, I'm not sure. Let me tell you. I think you heard the part of the blog where I said, look, some of these guys want a notch. Police training means that 2 seconds you don't do a kill. That guy who killed Atatiana, I just, you know, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want anybody to think I don't understand how the system works, etc. But I also think if you look at the video, and let me play that video again for you, and because I want you to see what I want to explain here. I'm going to play that video again, and I want you to see what I'm talking about. Okay, check this out.
Put your hands up. Show me your hands. Put your hands up. Show me your hands. Put your hands up. Show me your hands. Put your hands up. Show me your hands.
Okay, the reason why I showed that, okay, is what you're going to see there is you're going to see a guy in his voice. He's acting that police kind of a way. And I personally detect that, you know, he's out of his league. And the next step is he sees a black woman in a house. He's told that the door is open. And he said, oh, my God. Pow, shoot, I'm defending myself. I'm so damn scared. So remember what I said in my blog. I said there were two kinds of officers. And I said, and I'm going to repeat that part of the blog because I think it's important. And I want people, because we want to be we want to be correct, measured, but tough. I said to be clear, or rather I said, there are two reasons these guys kill. First, there are the racist cops that are just looking for a kill that has a semblance of justification. They have innate hate of some, and they have the power to act on it, knowing there is a willful population out there that will support them. In other words, there are some of these cops that just want to go out there and kill POCs because they have this innate hate, the Trump-type hate, so they're going to go out there and do that. And they know that they're going to get off. There's a likelihood, the biggest likelihood is that they get off. But the second kind of cops is the implicit racist, right? It goes like, second, there are cops that should not be cops. Society, our new program in Hollywood, and the FBI data would have many believe that POCs and black men in particular are more dangerous. As such, out of an unwarranted irrational fear, they shoot much more readily at a POC than at a white person. So if you take a look at the psychology, that is from whence the psychology I talk about. Okay, Gary Rhodes also says police training is not the problem because they do exactly what they're trained for. Gary Rhodes also said his name was Botham Jean. Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that name. I think I said it in the article. Hugh, Lee Grant, Hugh means color. I just like to get fancy with the word sometimes. Got people get tired of hearing black people or this or whatever. So when, you know, just the way that I speak. Gary Rhodes, it makes me feel like I'm living in a war zone. You are living in a war zone, my brother Gary Rhodes. Lee Grant says, we need more context to correctly make a judgment in this incident. I require more information before naming a person a murderer. Yeah, you would think that way, Lee, my brother. I don't know why you need more information. You know, that is what drives me crazy, right? We see police officer murder black folk and Latinos and people of color all the time. We see them do that all the time. But somehow you always want more evidence because he couldn't possibly just be wrong here. There must be something Atatiana did. Atatiana was in her home. She was in her home. She was bothering absolutely nobody. Botham Jean was in his home. There's no more context needed, my brother. None. You heard it. Put your hands up. No identification of police officer and shot. He was outside several feet away from the window where, hell, he didn't even need to shoot. If he thought he was in real danger, other than the carnal danger where that pre-program that I'm talking about, where a lot of white people are simply programmed to see black danger. They've done psychological tests on that, and it's how you were reared. Americans were reared in a super actively racist community. The country is a very racist country. And I don't care who wants to say otherwise. You know, my good friend, a white woman comes out and she says, Egberto, I hate sometimes the feelings that I have. And I said the first part about it, my dear friend, is being able to come out and say it. Come out and be honest about it. You see hell, you have some black people that see black people and they get scared. Why? That's how we were programmed. That is how society has programmed us. You watch TV, the black person, the Latino is the villain. You see all the cues that are coming into your brain that makes your subconscious tells you that. It is the plutocracy that's programming you. When we take control of them and we stop allowing them to lie and pre-program you and put the subliminal messages in your head, then we can do something about it. But you have to first, my white friend, the woman, when she told me that, it's made me very happy because it was like, yes, you get it. You know, once you start to realize, and I always give the gay part of my psyche. I grew up a homophobe. In Panama, homophobia is the thing. Okay? You don't like gay people. You don't like gay people. So here is the deal. Here is the deal. What happens is that what I did is when I got my switch, I turned from being a gay hater to a gay supporter in a second. When a guy gave me a narrative and it was like, oh, how stupid. I am the guilty one. I am the bad one. I'm terrible. But still, if I saw two men kissing, it was like, ugh. That's the carnal part of your mind. If America is a racist country, most white or a large percentage of white people, and some black people and some Latinos, they associate black people, black men, Latino, with danger. That's how they were reared. That is the subliminal messages in their head. So the thing that you have to do, and that's what I did with respect to my homophobia, I leaned into it. I leaned into it and I forced myself to constantly be in the midst. Right, even at KPFT, my show came right after the queer show. You lean into it. I made sure and hung around gay people. I leaned into it. And now it's, see two guys kissing, it's nothing. But the reason I always relay this story is you have to first accept your prejudices and your deficiencies. And once you accept that, you can do something about it. These cops are society. They represent everything you see in society right now. So why wouldn't they be just like society? The difference, though, is they have the license to kill and get off. All right, let me continue with the things here. Lee Grant, we need more. Okay, Daniel, so irresponsible. Daniel, Egberto, you ain't responsible for the racial divide. Daniel, you're getting repetitive and old. When you realize what lies within your head for real, when you realize what it is, then we can talk. Let's see, Lee Grant, progressives seem to think they know to read minds. No, we don't. We just read the actions, and the actions pretty much tells you what's in your mind once you get it unfettered. I know at least one radio show who shouldn't be a radio talk show host. Thank you, Ledo. Thank you for the vote of confidence. Lee Grant says, Egberto is an honest man and a free speech advocate, so he should be a talk show host. Thank you, brother. You know, that's one thing. Lee Grant disagrees with me on a lot, but it seems he's always on the money. All right, Lee Grant says, this, however, stirs up racial rancor. This serves no one. Now, I disagree. If this serves up racial rancor, Lee, it must do it. Because hiding from reality is the problem. Not wanting to talk about what's in people's heart, in their brains, and what people live. When, you know, the thing about when you go ahead and just sweep things under the rug, you get a Trump. Okay? You get a Trump when you keep sweeping these things under the rug. You keep sweeping them under the rug, you don't find a solution. You got to cut this, you got to take the scab off of the cut. If you take the scab off the cut, then we can really, people talk about healing. It's not about healing. It's about accepting reality. Like I said, there's really no damn race, right? Race was created by a plutocracy, by a group of people to control. White supremacy isn't really white. You know, it isn't. It is just another method of control. And I explained that in another video, and we'll talk about that some other time because that's not the subject today. Today the subject is all about Atatiana Jefferson, who was murdered by a police officer. So anyhow, Daniel S. says, I agree wholeheartedly, had to pull over to agree. Thank you, my brother. And Hugh works. Thanks, man. Nata Kober, an innocent woman is dead. By all means, don't stir anyone up. Thank you, Nata. You're absolutely right. Gary Verbenlig, there should be an alternate agency to call for non-emergencies other than police. Something like a neighborhood watch that do not patrol to avoid a situation that happened in Florida. Here's the deal. I see, you know, we can say that, right? But look at what George Zimmerman did, right? It is almost like the person of color never wins, right? I mean, because you get killed and everybody tries to find a reason why, just maybe there was some reason why that person did that. Well, you know, Amber Geiger took it to the limit. Amber Geiger was at the wrong apartment she claimed she thought was her own. It had a rug that didn't belong to her, but she was so busy having her talk with her boyfriend, maybe she didn't notice that. But hey, what can I say? She goes in there, the place doesn't look like hers. But again, she's so distracted she may not have realized the place is hers. But a black guy stands up and she gets scared. She gets scared. Remember that animal part that I talk about in 2 seconds? And I showed you those two videos. Tamir Rice, 2 seconds, dead. Whitaker in Ohio, in a Walmart. In a Walmart, this guy is playing with a pellet gun. Somebody in that Walmart calls the cop and says there's a black man in the store with a pellet gun. Supposedly we have open carry in Ohio. And not only that, but we see open carry white guys walking into Walmart. We got pictures, and I did a thing where I did 2 pictures, right? You know, one people thought was threatening, the others didn't. So there's this black guy on the phone with his girlfriend playing with this, you know, checking out this pellet gun. Checking out the pellet gun. And when he checked it out, some person in the store calls and says, hey, there's a black guy with a gun in the store. A whole bunch of cops come in. You see it on the video. It's all on the video. They run. They see him, the same 2-second rule. Shot him dead. Shot him dead. Look it up. Whitaker the third. I think it's Whitaker the third. Just like Ohio Walmart shooting, black man. So it's not an accident. That 2-second thing just seems to be the number. That's how long it takes for these people's, for the ones that are scared, it takes their brain 2 seconds to say to kill. The ones that are racist would say, stop resisting, as you're not resistant. Stop resisting. I am not resistant. Put your hands, my hands are down. They're looking for the option to kill. And that's why it was so great when that guy kept his hands out with the camera. He said, when the police officer said, put your car in park. He said, you put my car in park. I am not moving my hands. But you know what was so funny? And I have the video, I think, on my thing. The police officer didn't only say, put your car in park. He also said, gun. But the guy had a camera in one and the other hands up, so he couldn't shoot. People, you guys think this is just talking or irresponsible? The nice thing about all of this, it's on video. It's on video. Willful ignorance is seeing the stuff with your own eyes and still think somehow your eyes deceive you, because it just can't be. Daniel S. says, race is pseudoscience. You're so right, my brother. Race is stupid, but it's used to create degradation so that some people can be taken advantage of as they extract from them. But later on, as in our capitalist society, as you extract all you can from the average in the masses, you have to eat the rest. So Appalachia has been eaten for a long time. But they hide Appalachia. The capitalists hide Appalachia, right? They hide them because they don't want the rest of America to see what their destiny is. The destiny is Appalachia for Americans, period, irrespective of race. As they go from one group to the other group to eat them. I mean, the numbers don't lie, right? The numbers don't lie. The reasons why, who is it that their life expectancy is dropping now again? They're coming for you. Capitalism finally caught up with you. You know, you're fighting for something that's killing you. And many don't even notice. Good thing, watch Politics Done Right, because I can tie the dots for you. We tie the dots for us all when we look at it together and see these things. Daniel S. says, it's white settlers versus swarthy hordes. I don't know what that means. Daniel S. says, but HBO is pure tropes if white criminals granted impunity incessantly on all shows. It's horrible. It's eliminationist. You're right about that. Gary Rhodes said, someone just called me from 903-527-0334 and then block it. We have people who think it's okay to play with someone's life and not have no consequences. Their actions, sad world we live in. Yeah. Let me tell you, you have to understand what's going on here. But anyhow, folks, if you have any other items you want to tell me here, I think I've gone through all the messages on the link here. But folks, this is serious, and there are ways that we can solve this. And the first way to solve it, folks, is honesty. The first way we solve this is called honesty. And honesty means if you're a white person or a black person that have that innate fear of people of color, don't just sit it in the background because you're fearing that you fear that you are racist, or you fear that admitting to that feeling makes you a racist. Admitting to that feeling makes you human, because you've been played with for so long to inculcate that in your minds. So you see, the reason I love everybody, I don't hate anybody, right, is I understand what has been done to the psyche of Americans. Not only Americans, it's around the world. It's a European thing, right? It's a Western thing to control the rest of the world because they were the conquerors of the world, right? So it is, once you understand the concept, and it's almost like self-perpetuating. In other words, it's on autopilot right now. Right now it's on autopilot, so none of this changes. Once you get this stuff on autopilot, you know, people just do it as an exercise, and it just keeps happening that way. Just keep happening that way, nothing changes. Anyhow, we're coming close to the end of the program. I want to remind you guys all that this is a political progressive show, and we do need your support. Please go to politicsdoneright.com, politicsdoneright.com, and please, please, please support good programming that's going to tell you the truth. Support good programming that's going to create a different narrative than what you hear on MSNBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, and all these other places. Because remember, they don't have the option. They're good people too, but they don't have the option to tell you things as it is, because if they tell you things as it is, they upset their funders. So please, I ask you to go to our site, politicsdoneright.com. Go to politicsdoneright.com. Support the program. It's inexpensive to do so, and you would be doing a good thing. We don't only do, today's a program that we did on this this event that just occurred, but what we like to do is talk about issues, Medicare for all, student loan debt, all that kind of stuff, to move us forward, to make sure that we are looking out for us all, because that is what it's going to be all about. Eso es lo que tiene que ser. Tenemos que entender lo que está pasando en todo este mundo. We got to understand all that is happening. And when we do, we can make a change. Working together, we can make changes. What has happened to Atatiana Jefferson is horrendous. It'll continue to happen until we're honest with ourselves. It'll continue to happen as long as we continue to give police officers the benefit of the doubt. We should never do that. Benefit of the doubt has caused the murder and continual murder of too many. So folks, it is your job. It is our job to make things right. So please, again, go to politicsdoneright.com, support the show. You can also go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. But go to Politics Done Right and just click on an option to support us, please. We make sure that you are taken care of. One more time, I want to show you the 2-second rule. It's not only, I mean, it didn't start with her. Every single one of these folks that you see get killed, somehow that 2-second rule applies. Check it out.
Put your hands up, show me your hands. Put your hands up, show me your hands. Put your hands up, show me your hands. Put your hands up, show me your hands.
2 seconds. Look at Tamir Rice.
Newly released video shows the moment police officers shot and killed a Cleveland boy. Police say 12-year-old Tamir Rice was waving a toy gun at people near a playground. Rookie officer Timothy Lohman and 6-year veteran Frank Garmbach responded to a call. Video raises troubling questions about their 2-second decision to open fire.
The video shows that Tamir Rice was gunned down less than 2 seconds after this police cruiser arrived.
Shots fired. Male down. Black male. Maybe 20. Black revolver.
But that was no adult. It was a 12-year-old child, and his weapon, a toy pellet gun that looked like the real thing.
So there you go. 2 seconds. They determine everything in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, You get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.